preparing the live stream and setting up our meeting. There we go. Okay, it looks like we are set up. Say, got it. Okay. As people start to kind of join in, hello everyone and welcome to the live stream. This is Meryl with Akron Soul Train, and tonight I am joined by Dara Harper, co-founder of the Akron Black Artists Guild, filmmaker Fred Barrett, and photographer Talia Hodge, who together developed the exhibition and film Reshaping the Narrative, currently on view at the Akron Soul Train Capsule Gallery and the back part of the Burton D. Morgan exhibition space. The show will remain open until December 18th. So all of you have a little bit more time. You guys got about a month. And our gallery hours are Wednesday through Saturday from 11 to 4 p.m. Akron Soul Train is an artist residency program connecting and empowering the community and artists by granting fellowships that provide resources for all creative disciplines to foster a more vibrant Akron. Before we get going, I'd like to thank our sponsors for their continued support. The GAR Foundation, Akron Community Foundation, the Ohio Arts Council, Leaner Family Foundation, the Brennan Family Foundation, the Knight Foundation, the Char and Chuck Fowler Family Foundation, and the Corbin Foundation. Also, this project was made possible with a community grant from the Akron Community Foundation and support from Kathleen Brennan and Cloud Hansen. So very, very special thank you to them. Anyone viewing, please feel free to comment with questions and we will get to them towards the end of the program after I've gone around with my phone and everything. And also please comment on any of our videos, how you like this type of virtual programming, so we can continue to put out the most thoughtful and creative content for you all. Okay, we're gonna start with some introductions and kind of how you all came together to conceive of the project. Now we have Talia on audio only, so I might need someone viewing to write in the comments if you can hear her when she's doing her introduction, and we can make sure this works, okay? Dara, we can start with you.
Hello, everyone. Again, my name is Dara Harper. I am an artist, an educator, and also an advocate for the arts. I'm currently the director of programming at Arts Now. And for me, I stepped in as the curator and really was able to direct the beautiful talent that's in front of us. They made me look good. So that's pretty much where it began. It was also ideas that myself and Christine talked about, and basically to really give a positive voice to Blacks here in Akron. A lot of times different stories are told and it may not be the best light, but for reshaping the narrative, of course, in the name, that is very much positive stories that people are just raising their family, going to work every day, coming home, making sure that they create a legacy for their own families, generations to generations. So that was pretty much the premise. And from there, just reaching out to our fellow artists, which is Fred Barrett and Talia Hodge, to help bring that vision to life. Definitely in their wheelhouse when it comes to illustrative photography, really telling a story. And then also with Fred Barrett, knowing the logistics of how we can put it on film and for people to understand and really relate to the stories that are being told.
Okay, and Fred, can you introduce yourself real quick?
Okay, I'm Fred Barrett. I am the owner of Socially Good TV and New Realm Media. And I'm also an emerging media digital trainer at PBS Western Reserve. I taught media at Kent State for about 14 years and kind of stepped away from that to start bringing light to the community. I've been doing it for years, and this piece here kind of reflects my motto, which is the value of the community is based on the story being shown. And with this piece, it really shows that I got impacted by seeing the stories of these families. So it really impacted me. I started seeing Akron in a different light. But there are some in me and say, "Hey, snap, come over here and turn your camera on." And that's how it happened.
Okay, and Talia, we'll see if you come through on the Facebook Live.
Okay. Hi, I'm Talia Hodge. I am a local photographer. I own Photographed by Talia. I'm a sort of recent grad from Kent in 2018, so I'm kind of finding my way and finding new projects. And this was a really cool project to be a part of. And same with Fred, like I was really impacted by the different stories told and seeing the different families and individuals who were doing really amazing things in the area that I was not aware of. So it was awesome.
Okay, and I'm just gonna ask some of our viewers to write in the comments whether or not you heard her okay. Just wanna make sure this was working. Give them a moment. While I'm giving them a moment, we are going to start with the photography. But Derek, you talked a little bit about the concepts behind the project. How did you all kind of come up with the ideas for this? Like, or the idea to even want to do something like this?
It was the opportunity presented itself. And for me, I've always been taught that when the opportunity's there, take it, work at it, press to hear a voice. So just in that, I like storytelling, and a lot of that just come from just growing up, sitting under elders talking and telling stories about how they used to and when they used to and how Akron used to be, because I am born and bred Akron. So for me, that was an easy concept to hear a story and to hear a true story about people before me that settled here in Akron, but made a life here in Akron. And just with also the climate that we're in right now with different things jumping off in the media, and even with Akron declaring racism as a health problem, this right here was something that can curtail that for people that, no, we bleed the same, we do the same things, there's nothing different, and we need to seek out the humanity in people and quit being divided when it comes to just the simple things. I mean, we don't always agree on things, but we all want to see our family thrive and be successful. So.
Okay, so Talia, you are heard loud and clear, so I'm super happy that's working. I'm gonna go ahead and stop this video, grab my phone, and we can start taking a look at some of these photographs. Okay, good, right there. So Talia, can you kind of talk about the process of how you came onto the project and started collecting some of these photos?
Yeah, well, Dara asked me to be a part of the project, I think at the beginning of the summer, I think. And we started with the interviews, and I took the portraits while the families were sharing their stories. And then from there, we went to their individual spaces to kind of delve more into what they like to do or how they spend time with each other. And then I spent time driving around the city looking for places that are reflective of the Black community in Akron. And yeah.
Okay. So as I go through some of these photos, we can talk about maybe finding people to participate and maybe a little bit about the interview process. Whoever wants to kind of start that conversation.
I would say finding people, it at first was a little difficult. And I've said this even when we had the opening. And reason being, it was two things or two factors. One was, I don't want to be on camera. That, and a lot of people are not comfortable being on camera. I get that, or taking pictures. Not everybody, especially I think even the older generation, they're not comfortable with taking a lot of pictures and carrying on. But then second, I ran into people that didn't feel like their story was important enough. Like, who cares that my people stayed in Akron and we did X, Y, and Z, that it was unimportant. And to me, I took that very personal to heart, that everybody's story is important. And why do we feel that way? Even culturally, why do we feel that at times what we have to say is unimportant? So that was something that kind of, it was a hindrance when it came to finding people, but we found the right people to complete this project. And what you're looking at right here, what you're showing is the Harris family. And that's Charlie Harris and her mom were interviewed, and they talked about her mom is not from here, and her husband, raised their family, and they're entrepreneurs and have several businesses, and definitely the values that they instilled into their daughters. And currently, Charlie has a gallery, to a platform for artists to showcase their work, and also a market that they have that cycles out throughout the month. So I was very proud to be able to share their story, but also learn and understand their story. And actually, I'm in love with them. I love them. I mean, the Mama Harris is the bomb. I love her. And her mom and my mom is cute when they, see each other. So, yeah.
It's so interesting that people might not have felt that their story was important enough, but when we go see kind of the film later, I learned so much just about the city from watching the interviews, and like each story was super interesting to me as someone that didn't grow up here, that's only been here for a couple of years. So I'm just kind of going through some of the photographs. If anyone wants to chime in on kind of where like a particular photograph came from, or want to talk about a particular one, I can kind of go over there.
I'll say about the Harris family and the tire shot. I really enjoyed finding that space in their garage where there was a lot of light coming in, and I don't know, the beauty and kind of what could be like a, tires touch the ground, kind of like dirty area. But like, I don't know, I feel like I agree with Dara. Their family is great and I love them too. And I met them through this process. So I don't know, when I look at that photo and see the light coming in through the windows, it's kind of like a representative of like their family and what they seem to be doing in their community, and to the people they meet.
Mm-hmm.
And move on to this wall. Sorry.
Fred, you on mute.
With the tire shot, I see a different angle on that, where I'm not native of Akron, but one thing I'm always hearing is about rubber industry, rubber capital world, and what have you. And with this exhibit, it's about showing this community as a valuable part of the city. So with that photo with Charlotte Harris in it, with her holding that tire, kind of stamps that. Got this tire, got this rubber. We're not in the shadows. We actually got our hands on this thing as well. That's what I see in that picture or photo.
It was a beautiful picture.
Yes.
Thank you.
And then I'm just going to continue kind of moving through the space. Dara, you can maybe talk about the printing process and the installation process, how these photos are kind of spaced out or come together.
Well, I definitely wanted to see almost like a Polaroid photo album, large, of course, scale when it came to presenting the work. And a lot of times, even when we look in a photo album, it does tell a story. Even if it's pictures that's clumped together, or if it's one picture that's stuck to the glue that's in the photo album, it still tells a story. It makes you think about, well, what's the story behind this person or that family, or why did you take a picture of these objects in the room or whatever. Sometimes we take off pictures and then still make it in the photo album. Just memories in general. But we definitely utilized our neighborhood in that. When I say that, we used the main library, the tech zone, to print off our work. So we didn't go all far away to print. So we was definitely, to me, that's in-house. And they were 24 by 24, so they're pretty big. And Talia did a great job formatting, making it clean, being printed. And then the installation, it was pretty simple. And then just even the, like the old cameras where the reels, the negatives, even that type of look, to me, I saw that kind of look as it was being hung up. So those plastic negatives pulled out and pinned up.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much where that kind of
Yeah.
evolved.
We have lots of portraits right here. So if you guys want to talk about any of these families, I can kind of go over to their portrait. I mean, Dara knows these people really well, right?
I don't want to be the only one talking.
I've seen them somewhere before. Who was that? When you slowly kind of go over these pictures, it's kind of like you no longer have individual photo albums. When I see this, I'm like, okay, and now I see a big new photo album with all these different families in it. It's like they're all related, but they're not. But it gives that whole vibe to me just looking at this. And especially sitting down, talking to them, interviewing them. And it felt like, okay, when they tell their story about their family, you feel like you're a part of it as well. The fact that they opened up, it's like, oh, you sharing that? Okay.
Did you learn anything surprising from the interview process? Or I like the fact that it made you feel part of their family, or like you can identify with certain aspects of like other people's stories.
The one person that grabbed me was Jerry Gould. Listen to his stories, and well, the combination of them too, talking about the history of Akron and how it was to live back then. I think the one story that he told me is when people got dressed up to go downtown to see the 10 Commandments, they were kind of like, what? how they thought it was huge to them, but when I remember as a kid, I saw it on TV. So to see that different angle on things like that, really, that intrigued me. And then we talked about hard work and when you get laid off from one job, you kind of have to discover yourself and jump into another level of creativity you didn't know was there. And when I learned what he was doing, it was like, man, that's cool. How did you get from upholstery to cars to but he said it was triggered because he got laid off or whatever happened, and it made him discover himself. That's the very intriguing part of some of these stories.
He was laid off from Firestone
Oh.
when the factories were being outsourced, and then a lot of people lost their job due to that. So just the resiliency says enough that, you know, just because one door closed doesn't mean you can't go through another one, and you pick up the skills that you've learned somewhere there and then bring it to somewhere else, and you keep building on that and don't stop. Because, you know, even if you don't have a large family or you just by yourself, you still want to create some type of, create a legacy that people know you put a stamp on something, you did something, that you was productive. And that is kind of also what I got out of all the stories, that you just keep going. If it was a turn in something that you couldn't help that it happened, you just kept going. You worked at it. You made sure you did the things you needed to do in order for your family to survive, in order for your family to thrive. It was resiliency. And even when you were in uncomfortable situations, referring to Ashley Pippin and her husband, just moving and getting settled and then new babies and just unsure. All the stories pointed to God. God sustained them. God kept them to move on and work through the things that they had to do and to continue to shape their future.
And then we also have a few kind of items sprinkled in that belonged to some of the families. Can you talk about maybe the reasoning behind bringing them in, or any of their significances?
Well, a lot of times we don't have heirlooms. It like real actual objects passed down culturally. And I thought it was important to include that, to say, yes, we do pass down stuff or have things to give to the next generation. So that small box I thought was very interesting, and that is from Roger Riddle. He was the young man we interviewed at the end of the video, and he was more representing the new Akron and just collaborating and jumping in, finding your niche, going for it, making new partnerships and all that. But that was from his grandfather, and it was a retirement gift where he worked on the railroads. Well, he was a porter with the railroads. So to me, I like history, so that was very interesting to me.
And then over here we have the painting.
And again, that's from the Harris family, their sister, that she's an art professor in Columbus. She painted that. Most recently, their father passed, Mrs. Harris' husband. He passed, and they still did the video or the interview even after that. They did it out of much consideration. I was glad they did it, and it was just very touching to just continue, and they press to still share their story. So it was even more beautiful when they presented this picture or painting to be displayed as well. To me, it's just a beautiful story.
Yeah. And then over on this side,
that is Jerry Gould and his wife's family, Ursula Gould, and that's the Hendersons, her people. And that Bible was actually 108 years old. And It was a wedding, right? And it was a wedding gift. And when she gave it to me to let us sit it on a pedestal, till December. I looked at it and I was in awe. And I was it just almost everything that it just brung everything together. So it's very beautiful.
It's an amazing piece.
There's carving and all that. I was just like, wow, okay.
Okay, so now I'm going to go into where the film is, and I do have to fix maybe one thing, but you can talk about maybe the process of putting the film together. Let me get this weird square out of the way. There we go. Okay, sorry about that. So the film is about half an hour or so, and includes the interviews and photographs and objects, and it's just incredibly well produced and super beautiful film. What was it like working on something like this?
Well, I had an afro before we started. Now,
Yeah. I had blonde hair too.
really?
Oh yeah.
Now going through the process, one thing I had to sit back and appreciate, because Dara kept saying it has to be right, it has to be right, it has to be right. And I do this on a regular, but her passion and her from being from Akron, once I finished it, now I understood it. Like, we need this picture right here, we need that to come in 1 second, this and that. And I'm like, okay. Once I realized that, it was easier to work with, because like I said, I'm not native from Akron. And once I started really getting impacted by all the different stories, how it came together, it was rather easy. It was rather easy. The passion in me kind of flowed over. I'll say that. Not easy, but it just flowed over. And really to see the families share their stories and be in front of the cameras, if you could have saw the setup we had with the big, huge lights and what have you in the face, this, and I know they've never really told us stories like that. It was very unique. And I think, like Daryl was saying, that some people or some families were thinking that their stories are not valuable enough. Hopefully when they see these stories, they will realize they're valuable too. That's kind of what my hope is from this.
And Dara, had you kind of ever worked on a film like this before, or what kind of brought about the idea of doing an actual film?
I've done film in the past, but not this length or time. I've done like 3, 5, 10-minute stories. I started years back when my kids was very small, and I mean like kindergarten, first grade, and they're now seniors in high school, with a group called Relate. Andrew Rudd out in Canton, at Malone College, and they showed me how to edit, and I was interviewing artists from Canton and how they worked and where they worked, or they studios. So that was like my first taste in doing that. But from there, would just do things for my personal artwork. And then also with being a school teacher and working with the parks for a few years, I would do small vignettes of film and show kids how to do it, at least show them how to edit and put things together in chronological order and what makes sense here and there. But I always love film. I love movies as well. I mean, in that regard. And then PBS, I like documentaries. So I like watching stuff like that. So it was easy to jump into, but it's not easy to do film. And definitely, I'm so glad Fred agreed to be a part of this process, because it's not easy when creating or trying to translate pictures, or even someone just sharing their story into a film that someone wants to sit down and watch.
Yeah, no, it's so well done, and it's really intriguing. Everything is interesting and everything is like joyful in a way, I feel. So anyone viewing, if you haven't gotten a chance to see it yet, you gotta come down to the gallery so you can watch the whole thing with sound on. Okay, I'm gonna.
Oh, it's
sorry.
also available, the whole feature film, just in regards of people still not be able to get out like they want to. It's available on the Akron Black Artists Guild YouTube channel, and just type in Reshaping the Narrative, Akron Black Artists Guild, and you will be able to find the full-length video as well.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you for that information. Okay, so I'm going to come back out here and kind of go through the photos, maybe more time before I go back to my computer and we can take some questions. I guess this is for Talia. You kind of talked about how you went around Akron kind of taking photos and everything. Did you learn anything about Akron or discover anything, or did it make you view anything differently to kind of photograph and collect all of these images?
I feel like it made me, I feel like I often will wander around taking photos, but I feel like I stopped to look at like even the artwork on the fence, little things like that, that sometimes you like kind of see, but you walk past, or you may stop and see one or two of them. I like stood and looked at all of them to see what the different artists were wanting to say. And I thought that was really interesting. And just, I feel like the little details in each neighborhood, that like the murals that you see, the pieces of culture of like people going to the barber shop, or just seeing families together, just appreciating it all and appreciating the various things that you see within Akron, because it's like a small place, but it's also a big place. So there are a lot of people that you don't know, a lot of stories that you don't know. So getting out, and again, about the artwork on the fence, just imagining the children who were painting those and how they feel about their city, and I don't know, their futures in it. That was really interesting. Even that photo of the library, there was a woman having a book signing there, and I thought that was really interesting, that a local library had, I'm pretty sure she was a local author having a book sale, and just that there are a lot of things going on that you have to search for, but they're out there. I thought that was interesting as well.
Okay, so for anyone viewing, if you have any questions, now is the time to type them in the comments, because I am making my way back over. Let's see, so keep that right there so you have a nice view. Okay, and I'm back. We'll move that over just a little bit. Okay, so if anyone has any questions for anyone here, we have a little bit of time to kind of go through them. So yeah, go ahead and type them into the comments. Okay. And then let's see. Do I have any comments? Let's see. I think I asked most of my questions, but I will ask kind of a big one. You mentioned this a little bit in the beginning, and each one of you can answer, or only one, doesn't really matter. The goals for this project, either from the beginning, how they've changed, how you think they've met those goals. Can you talk about that? Anyone?
I think the goals have been met. We shared a positive story of Blacks here in Akron. We showed from the beginning the history When we talk about the big picture of the Great Migration, we talk about coming from down south. Then, okay, we're here. Then from there, what are we doing from there? And so we have like the Pippin family that came later on, as they are adults and moving. Then also that Miss Vaughn and her daughter talking about how her father built a lot of buildings here in Akron. So just coming here, working, sustaining a livelihood for you and your family, and then the offsprings as to what, as Blacks that come here, what they're doing. And at the end, as Roger Riddle wraps it up, here to collaborate, here to bridge gaps, here to make Akron even better. We're still an innovative town. We're still a town that no matter what, we're gonna make it happen. So I think we told that story to its truth. And it was only a glimpse. This stories run far deep than what we told it, and we hope to investigate more maybe down the road. But I think we met our goals as far as showing whoever listens and watches, we reshape the narrative.
Let's see. Sherry Head Harris is asking what most inspired you in completing the process, in completing this project. So it was like kind of the most inspiring part.
Well, for me, I always look at value. I know people talk about love, but for me, value comes first, then respect, then possibly love. And when people don't feel valued or they're not valued, they are mistreated, they're invisible, or what have you. So when people say, "Oh, how can you do this to somebody?" or "How can you mistreat somebody?" because you don't value them, because you don't see them. So now you have this 5 stories amongst many in the city that's showing their value. Hey, we are here. Here's what we help contribute. So hopefully somebody will see this piece and say, "Oh, they did that. Oh, I didn't know this. I didn't know that." It'll help whatever narrative people had before. Now this piece will reshape a lot of these thought processes. Then the value may kick in, then respect, and then possibly love. That's what I got going through this piece.
Anyone else have an answer for that?
Can you, was it what inspired, while completing the project, or?
I think it's like kind of what was the most inspiring part of the project for you?
Okay. I think meeting the different families that are a part of it and getting to know like what they are doing within the city and the different ways that they're trying to better their community was really inspiring, and just how loving I feel like everyone was. And yeah, it inspired me, I feel like, as a storyteller, as a photographer, but also just as a person, to see like what else I can do in the community. And I don't know, with the different people that you meet each day. Sounds like Mr. Rogers kind of, but but yeah, just getting to know people and hearing their stories, I feel like it does, I know Fred was talking about value, and I don't know, showing each person that their story is worth telling and they're worth knowing. And yeah, I feel inspired by all of that.
One thing as a listener to Talia that I also saw that, yeah, you have the heirlooms and on exhibits and photos and whatnot, but there's one thing that, they say that the more things change, the more they stay the same. And they say that in a positive, negative connotation most of the time. in this scenario, I saw it on the positive side. So Jerry and Ms. Gould was talking about all the opportunities they had coming up. Great migration, people came here because of opportunities. Whereas they keep telling stories, the opportunities have stayed constant. When he lost a job at the rubber factory, to Daryl said, oh, there's another door open. And I know people say that it's almost like to an external aspect, but Jerry, to me, the door he opened was inside himself. And then he started going from there. And then that craft, that ingenuity that family had was passed on to like Ms. Harper. Then you have the Harris family, where the mother came from Canada. She came here, saying there was opportunity for women. Then she passed that on to her daughter. Then you have the Pippin family. They came here. The pastor came here alone, left, came back. Well, the church assigned him, but he still saw opportunity here. So from the older generation to now, things have changed, but opportunity remains the same. That's just listen to this, like, oh, can they pass that? They pass down more than there's heirlooms and things. They pass down this working hard spirit, this creative spirit, this genius spirit, the whole nine. That was the engine that was kind of like, when I started editing the piece and started seeing it come together, then I started seeing that story.
Now Miss Vaughn and her daughter, one line she said, because she said she worked in healthcare, and it's a thing called like Akron's Finest. And for her, she said that she knew when they talked about Akron's Finest or Akron's Greats, her dad was right with them. Even if they didn't know him, she knew he was great, being that he built buildings that people still walk in today. Even down to, and it was a little morbid, the graves, building caskets to go in the cemetery. The pride that she had was a beautiful thing. And to know, even though no one said, or I've never heard, or they had never heard my father's story, I know he was great. I know he had a place, and he did very well. So that was the beautiful thing to me, for her to just say, you know, my dad was right up there with them too. Even if they never gave him accolades, she knew it.
And that's part of, like, when we first started, of course, a few people were nervous to see in front of cameras, in front of lights. And I showed, like, behind the scenes, they were kind of like nervous, tried to put the script on and kind of memorize things. And I had to step in at one point, like, do you know your daddy? Tell him, put that pride in it. And she just opened up, forgot about the cameras, and boom. And just to be a part of helping tell the story, it's like, oh, now not only does she know he's great, everybody else will know that he was great. But hopefully, again, other families will say, hey, let me look at my family and see who did what and see who's great.
Okay. Do any of you have anything else you want to talk about? Anything else you want to say about the project? Closing remarks?
I would say go check out the show down at Akron Soul Train. It was paired with a beautiful, also another show that's there too. So check it all out. It's a beautiful from front to end exhibit. But definitely check it out. Watch the film. Tell us what you think. Make comments. We're just creating art.
Okay then. So once again, if you're viewing, you can still comment on this after it after the live has ended and it's posted, and I can try to get to them, try to get your questions to people. So I'll wrap it up. I'd like to thank Dara, Fred, and Talia for joining me tonight and for their work behind this very important project. And thanks to you all viewing for joining in. Reshaping the Narrative will be on view through December 18th, alongside new work from resident artist Aaron Foster. That show is titled We Should Be Home. And that's the show that Dara mentioned. Very beautiful show. I think that they work very well together. Once again, our gallery hours are 11 to 4, Wednesday through Saturday. So we hope that you can stop by and view these amazing shows, or check out the Akron Black Artists Guild YouTube channel to view the film. Thank you all so much. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah.